Gentlemen, let's sit down. I must say, we have a really exciting lineup today, very diverse from the experience point of view. My guests today are Rocco Breuninger of Amazon. Do I pronounce it right?
Yeah, that's pretty much correct, yeah.
Okay, that was a tough part. I was told everybody calls you Rocco anyway, because it's so tough.
That is true.
I tried, okay. Ignacy Niemczycki from the Ministry of Development and Technology.
Great pronunciation, thank you, hello.
Thank you very much, I was trying. Andrzej J. Kozłowski, Emitel.
Hello.
And Patrick Warnking, Google.
Dzień dobry, good afternoon.
The topic of our conversation today is whether small and medium countries of the CEE region can actually participate in the AI revolution. AI is today a buzzword. It's not the first panel on AI at Impact, and everybody wants to jump on it. Everybody wants to participate. It brings new jobs and kills some jobs. It brings development, GDP growth. Small and big countries want to be in. When you look at different rankings of how developed different countries are from a technological perspective, it seems like when you look at DESI, for instance, it seems that size doesn't seem to matter that much, because you have developed very tech-savvy countries like Estonia, small countries like Estonia. You have bigger countries like the United States, of course. But so from what point of view, if it's not the size, then what does matter when it comes to the possibility to participate or the impossibility to participate in the AI revolution? Rocco, I will start with you.
Yeah, I think first of all, it's important to take away the fear, to really embrace the technology and invest in talent. Like, what needs to be driven is the adoption of AI, and only if everybody in society, that means we have to use universities as hubs, but also upskill existing workforce. Only if the total society actually embraces and uses and adopts AI, then we are actually also able to really skyrocket the benefit from it. So, and this can be done within smaller countries as well as bigger countries. It just is a matter of how much you support it from a governance perspective as well. Advocate for it, and then I think you can be very much successful, even more if you collaborate amongst those countries, like the D9 or the 3Cs countries, so you can actually collaborate much more and embrace the technology.
Okay, Ignacy Niemczycki, what's your perspective on this? Can small countries or countries like Poland, for instance, jump on this? Can they participate, or is it too late already?
Right, so I have two keywords for you, and I would say first is scale. So if you look at the most efficient LLMs, it's the big countries that develop them, and they invested heavily in developing them. You have US, you have China, and some other European examples. But you need scale to develop those generative AI models. But then you have those other examples like Estonia, and their competitive advantage, I think, is agility. And what we need right now in Poland, and I think if a country, a smaller country, wants to jump on this bandwagon, you need agility. And that's what we're focusing on right now in the public administration in Poland.
Andrzej Kozłowski, you have an interesting point of view because you cooperate, well, you kind of link public and private, right?
Well, yeah, and I guess you won't be pleased to hear, what I think. So, with this opening remarks, unfortunately, I think that, okay, whether we like it or not, we're going to be part, or we are the part of this revolution. That's A. But B is that, unfortunately, let's not live under the illusion that Poland or countries in the region can be, at the forefront of this race. No. So just using this analogy from the cycling racing, what is important for us is not to be the leading. Okay, we cannot be the leading breakaway group, that's for sure. But what is important and what we need to do, what we need to make sure is that as many companies from our country, from our region, are in the front of the peloton, or at least, among some of them, few of them, in the chasing group.
Patrick, what's your perspective from a big tech perspective, whether smaller countries like Poland or Estonia or other CEE countries participate?
So first of all, I think there are a couple of really good news. The first good news is that all countries and all companies, including small and medium enterprises, are at the same start line. This is a new technology. It's accessible to anyone, and we should take anyone along. We should make AI for everyone. The second good news is that actually these countries here, and I'm simplifying a little bit, but overall they are embracing the future. They're leapfrogging, right? While in Western Europe, I see that countries a little bit defending the past, simplifying, right? And the next good news is the mindset. The mindset goes with that. We see stronger growth here. We see more innovation. We see a lot of talent. We heard about the agility. I want to build on that, especially also in the area of education, because we have a very strong foundation in these countries here on STEM education, and that puts these countries in an amazing starting point, especially also Poland, including female talent in STEM education. If now we can find partnerships with some agility, public-private partnerships, other partnerships even in the market, we can drive upskilling and skilling at scale. It's not easy to, it's not difficult to learn these tools. It's actually easy. We will see thousands of new models of new pieces of software for different industries, different value chains, business models. But you need to embrace them, and you need a little bit help in the beginning, the aha moment, to play around with it, to learn how to do it, and then you can create very fast value.
Yeah, and it's not about like the US and probably China, the big foundational model. It's not about that. It's a lot of solutions, and like there will be small solutions that everybody can drive in every country. I see it a little bit like I think that actually Gen AI or AI right now on a shorter time frame, it's actually pretty much overhyped, and on a longer time frame, it's underhyped. I compare it a little bit like the internet bubble a couple of years ago, like in the 2000s. There were so many companies jumping on it like crazy, and some solutions and apps that never really took off. Even at Amazon, our share price went from $130 to $6. But back then, if somebody had told you that at some point you can take out your phone and you type on it or put something on it, and then you go out, a driver will pick you up and drive you wherever you want, greet you by name, and then you get out, you don't even pay. I mean, nobody even thought of this. The same with AI. There will be solutions, and that can be driven by every single one in every single country and company that we don't even think of right now.
Well, I wanted to add to that. I absolutely agree that small and medium enterprises and smaller and medium countries can actually build applications using the large LLMs developed. So it's not that each country needs its own LLM. No, you can have custom applications using AI, and we already see great Polish companies doing really great stuff using the models that were developed mainly in the US, but they're building custom applications, and we see a future for this, and we think there will be a business case for that as well.
But what needs to happen? I mean, is like a national strategy for AI? Because everybody has a national strategy, right? But what needs to happen? Who needs to come together for that to happen? For you.
Well, oh, sorry. Go ahead. I would like, if you look at the UK, Singapore, India, it starts with education. You need to embrace the talent. Like it starts in the universities, fellowships, like university needs to become hubs. And then also you need to have efforts and a targeted strategy to drive adoption, to demystify the bad things. Because if there's fear, a lot of fear on it, then people will stay away from it, and you leave the solutions in the hands of a couple. But you need a broad panel of really across the society to shape the future of AI. And this is what those countries actually do, and then work with your talent together and develop it.
Andrzej Kozłowski, you seemed quite pessimistic about the future of CEE countries in the revolution, but what can be done to at least participate?
Well, coming back for a second to your, to the previous question, I wonder, how many people here think that, in the US somebody was waiting for, a centralized approach, for a minister to tell them what to do, etc. Steve Jobs famously said that it's more fun to be a pirate than, to join the Navy, right? And we are talking about technology that it's a totally different ballgame. Let's be honest, So, and I think that's the problem actually with our part of the world, that we tend to act in a centralized way. Whereas with Gen AI, it's important actually to take different kind of approach, not top down but bottom up, and not and help people in a way, in a sense that we are actually not causing any problems for those youngsters to come up with excellent ideas. Basically, we should give access, to these tools to as many people as possible, and just see what happens. This is kind of an entrepreneurial way of developing such technologies. With our approach, with strategies, with EU, setting the regulations, the framework, etc. I actually disagree that we are at the same place, like the US compared to Europe. We are not. We are lagging behind. Big time.
Patrick Warnking, do you agree? Do you disagree with the EU approach not being exactly the best?
Look, we are actually doing at the moment a study that will come out in June, and we already see the numbers that from the GDP point of view, right, there is so much more upside here. Already the GDP here in these countries is growing stronger than in Western Europe, if we compare that, and that can be accelerated. But there is a base case and a best case and also a not so good case. And that to a large extent depends on two things. The one is the skilling, how fast, right? In one case, the countries really accelerate the skilling on these new tools and on these models, and many companies will build their own small models for whatever business case they have. So the mindset is really important, and we need to support that and encourage people to actually play with it. But then we need the use cases, or you could say we need the problems to solve, right? The bigger problems you have to solve, the better the innovation will be. And these countries here have enormous investments in infrastructure, in health, in other topics, in encryption. Think of cybersecurity here, we are at the front line. So there are really big topics to solve. And that is actually where you can put AI at work. And that is where the innovation will come from. And actually it's co-created here in the country. I mean, we have over 1,500 engineers working on these topics right here in Poland. And we have them across the region. Why? Because we have the talent here. And that will continue. So if we all together find the use cases, the PhD projects and the other topics, then we will develop a large part of this innovation here in the region.
Rocco, you were nodding. You agree, or?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's big opportunity, and when you said I give an example from Amazon. I mean, in 2012 we invested in a company called Ivona. It was like 3 people or 10 people. Right now there are more than 1,000 people working on AI for Alexa, and that's happening here based on a foundational model that might be somewhere else in the US or somewhere. But like the speech recognition, the text-to-speech, that is developed here in Gdansk. It all started here, and there are many more of those opportunities across the region. We just need to be agile, going back to you, and be very open to the transatlantic, so the EU-US partnership. I think we also need to be sure to not create barriers, have an open policy, and yes, we need to balance between the benefits and the ethical question or the potential risk, but make this in a very smart way and embrace the partnership, especially with the US.
Ignacy, Niemczycki, I wanted to ask you, because the gentlemen here are quite tough on the public sector, but what do you think your role in this is? What can you do to support and not, be an obstacle?
I'll try to respond to your question and also refer to what Mr. Kozłowski said. So the situation in the US is that you have a very strong financial sector, and the financial sector, when it sees an opportunity, it steps in, and it's a sector where there's a tendency to take risk, and that's very much all right in terms of innovation. In Europe, we don't have such a robust financial sector, financial markets. So that's why we have those strategies. We have the EU intervening, offering funds, and those funds are being used by companies. So I think our role here is when we work on the funding, we also need the funding to be agile. Right now, if you apply for EU funding or some funding from Poland, usually it takes them like a year to go through your application. I mean, with AI, every 3 months we see a breakthrough. So simply the pace of what we are doing needs to be much, much faster. Then I also think we probably won't be the leaders in AI, but there are a lot of applications, custom applications that we can develop here. But I think from the public administration point of view, it's important to have focus. So we have, let's say, 4, 5, 6 sectors that we focus on, and we give priority to those sectors where we see the biggest potential. Last but not least, access to data, to open data. So a lot of those models need to be trained on publicly accessible data. And we have a good program in Poland, but we want to improve it to offer even more data for those models to train on. And this is our job in the public administration. On top of that, I very much agree with what you said about education, and I think Poland has a strong advantage here. And we do need to change the mindset in Poland, but also in Europe, and embrace this quick pace of change. So we need to have this open culture when it comes to innovation, and this is probably the most difficult thing to do.
Andrzej.
I agree. I mean, since I guess we all agree that it's not, I mean, Poland and Polish companies cannot compete with the tech giants, but yes, we can focus on a niche. We can find a niche where we can develop some applications. But I think, and this is what I would like to emphasize, there's one critical factor, and I'm looking at, and a colleague on my right, because, the state needs to step in. What do I mean by that? I mean, I wonder how many people here, again, at the stage have kids and look at the curriculum at schools and see anything about AI. I mean, teachers teaching anything about AI. I have a son in high school, daughter in the primary school, nothing, zero. It is very important to put a strong emphasis on changing, the strategy related to the education system. That's number one. Number two, we can talk about great Gen I and, technologies, but I don't know if you realize that there are lots of poles, there are lots of white spots in Poland where actually the broadband internet is not available. I mean, we're still, far from actually, getting full access to cloud computing. So this is also, again, this should be the part of the Polish strategy to make sure that our infrastructure is on the top level, that this could be our competitive advantage. Perhaps we're not going to be, the best in the AI development technologies, but at least we'll be clever followers, we'll have fantastic infrastructure, so those tech giants come to Poland and invest here.
Okay, gentlemen, our time is running up, but I want to ask you one last question, and I need a quick, short answer. If you have to think of one thing that smaller CEE countries need to do to jump on the AI bandwagon, to participate in the technology, the change in this AI revolution, what would you say it is? This one thing, Rocco.
Well, make sure that everyone in the company, not just the CEO and the tech guy, but everyone in the company thinks about AI and embraces AI and embraces the technology and doesn't fear the technology, but adopts it.
Well, I already mentioned this, agility.
Andrzej Kozłowski.
I don't want to wait one more time.
Patrick.
Take people along and help them learning and do the first steps. You don't need to study computer science to use these tools and to profit from these tools. So we need to encourage people, even children, show them how they can use it, how they can play around, and then after the first steps they will find their own way. And this is true for all small and medium enterprises. And whatever country does that best will have a competitive advantage.
100%. It's all about adoption. Yeah.
So education, education, education. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's been a great conversation. I hope we'll continue behind the scenes. Thank you.